Hi everyone, welcome to this film. This is the Circular Highs for 2025 and it's brilliant that you've made it here. This is our 2025 playlist. We have 5 films marking 5 years of World Circular Textiles Day, and this film has been made by Laetitia Forst. It's her choices, her selection of some of the highs from 2025 and some of the really excellent case studies that are going into our WCTD map. This is a time capsule that we are collecting and putting together every year. And it's just a really nice moment to mark some of the progress right across the sector. And thank you to Laetitia for putting this together. And I hope you really enjoy this session. Okay, take care. Bye.
Hi, my name is Laetitia Forst, and I'm a circular textile design researcher at the University of the Arts London. It's my pleasure to host this part of the 5th World Circular Textile Day. This video, along with the 4 other events that are part of this overarching World Circular Textiles Day 2025, is a real testament to the drive and the creativity of the circular textiles community across the world. And to give you a snapshot of all these initiatives that we're tracking across the sector, I'll be presenting the circular highlights of 2025. These highlights are a selection from the Circular Economy Knowledge Hub. So the Knowledge Hub is an online platform which aggregates information and case studies which concern circular progress across the world. These resources include a special World Circular Textiles Day collection, which groups case studies in the field of textiles and fashion. This is a super pool of knowledge and really presents the state of the art in circular design. Each case study is deposited by the leader of the project or the company or the initiative which is represented, and the case studies are then vetted by the WCTD or the Circular Economy team. This means that we have a truly crowdsourced platform, which represents grassroots initiatives that shows what's the development of subjects which are really close to the heart of the WCTD community. While mainstream media or the established news outlets in the field might be highlighting big technological developments or multi-million endorsements by global fashion brands, this work shows the more diverse and the small initiatives which also make up our circular journey. This is really about initiatives that are highlighted by the practitioners, by the people who are actually on the ground developing new circular initiatives. So today we won't necessarily be hearing about big policy changes or multinational brand wins, but rather from a patchwork of voices that are directly involved in our community. And of course, these are to be seen in the context of bigger shifts, but we want to be really close to what's actually happening with these practices. So the hub paints a landscape of circular initiatives. In 2023, we collaborated with digital design agency Helvetas to bring this database to life in a series of digital world mapping visualizations. So this moving image was extracted from a longer and more descriptive video, which is available online, and which represents how circularity initiatives can have started appearing since our record start, and how their geographical distribution has evolved over time. So today's case selection will not show all areas of the world. It's impossible to do that in a selection that fits within the size of this video. But we really just wanted to show a little bit of a scattering of what the WCTD community looks like. So the Knowledge Hub uses a range of criteria and markers to classify and tag each study. They are clustered under 3 main themes: raw materials and planetary boundaries, products and services, and people and society. Each case study is also tagged against key elements of the circular economy. These define a set of strategies that are used or prioritized in each initiative. It's useful across the community to attribute the right vocabulary to specific approaches. This can also help case leaders or contributors to describe their words better and using quite standardized vocabulary going forward. So the key elements of the circular economy that we're looking at are prioritizing regenerative resources, which includes regenerative materials, water, or energy, stretching the lifetime, which means maximizing lifetimes of products in use, after use, and maximizing the lifetime of biological products, using waste as a resource, which is about valorizing waste streams in closed loop or in open loop, and using energy recovery from waste, rethinking the business model, which is about product or service business models, designing for the future, which includes designing out waste, designing for cyclability, and designing for durability. Incorporating digital technology is also one of our really important key elements. That includes data and insights and the use of digital platforms. Teaming up to create joint value is obviously also key. This includes internal collaboration within organizations, industry-wide collaborations, customer or consumer collaborations, government collaborations, and community collaboration. And finally, our last key element of circular economy is strengthening and advancing knowledge, mainly through education and curriculum. The cases are further reviewed against circular economy indicators. So the Circular Economy Indicator Coalition has put together an overview of the latest indicators, methodologies, and associated resources so that we can measure the circular economy and its related social, economic, and environmental impacts. So I've listed a few here of these circular economy indicators that are used, but there are many, many more that can be found on the Knowledge Hub, and much more detail can be accessed in that way. There are more sets of markers for the case studies, such as Sustainable Development Goals and policy instruments, which I'm not detailing here. All of these classification systems for the case studies on the Knowledge Hub can be found directly there and explored in much more detail. But this is really to show how there is a mesh of different ways of representing this aggregation of case studies, and that there is this very reasoned classification behind them. So all these tags can help you filter case studies out of the hundreds of examples available on the Knowledge Hub and in the WCTD collection. This repository has been growing every year, and it's really great to learn and to see more initiatives in your own field. So I'm very happy to present a selection from the Knowledge Hub, which represents some of the highlights and noteworthy stories from this year's entries. I'll be taking us through these against our three main themes: raw materials, products and services, and people and society. So starting with raw materials and planetary boundaries, we're looking at a selection which shows how companies and organizations are using alternative resources to reduce their environmental impact and ensure the circulation of resources from fiber to fiber or from waste to fiber. Usha Yarn, which is one of our circularity heroes this year, is a textile recycler and a yarn spinner with a history that spans over 30 years. So they've been developing the key ability to deliver consistency at scale in recycled textiles. They're able to recycle post-industrial cotton waste from a range of partners and combine it through spinning with other fibers to produce high-quality yarns. Their R&D efforts have really allowed them to remove many of the usual hurdles that damage the quality of recycled yarns and produce a really standardized product at a large scale. In 2025, they've been reinforcing their sustainability commitments through achieving new certifications, including BCI and ChemSD. Our second case study of our circular highlights is Altag's Fibre Club. So at the Future Fabric Expo in London in June 2025, a representative from Altmat, which is a material innovation company which takes agricultural waste to make new cellulose fibers in a low energy and chemistry intensive process. So they got up on stage and they announced the launch of the Altag Fiber Club. So the Fiber Club system has already been trialed with a range of other fiber innovators and brands. And the system is really there to enable brands to pool their demand with next-gen fibers so that they can really increase their commercialization journey and trajectory. This gives better confidence for the fiber producers that there is actually a market and a pull for their product. And this type of initiative really shows promise for more intertwined collaboration between producers of fibers and the users of fibers in the circular fiber sector. So our third case study is an event that took place in May during the very well-attended Clerkenwell Design Week. Professor Becky Early was invited to give 2 keynote talks at the Chimera showroom. And these were really meant to address the challenges of the textile waste mountain. So what was really exciting about this moment in this design week was this idea of bringing insights from work with fashion businesses that we've been doing for quite a while into the sector of architecture and interiors to really support an expansion to this sector, which also produces important amounts of textile waste. So the talk brings this idea of a textile waste mountain through the idea of base camps that are set up along the side of this mountain, with each experiment laying foundations for the next to go further. I think this is a really exciting way to talk about progress coming from multiple different places, multiple projects, multiple businesses, and really connects with the way that the Knowledge Hub is bringing all these resources together and helping us build these base camps along the flanks of the textile waste mountain. Next, let's look at a selection of case studies that respond to the theme of products and services. Our fourth case study, and the first in this products and services selection, is Fabscrap. Fabscrap is a Brooklyn-based nonprofit which aims to tackle the waste problem with a specific category of industrial waste, which is fabric headers or fabric samples. These represent a range of challenges for mechanical textile recycling. They're abundant, but they're just not very easy to recycle as they are because they include labels, tape, and cardboard trims, which all have to be removed for the waste to be processed. Fabscrap did a study and actually revealed that in the waste that they were collecting, 75% of it was these fabric headers. So it's a really massive but often overlooked sustainability challenge. So their new Smarter Swatches initiative has analysed all of these fabric headers that they've been collecting and treating to recycle, and then created a smart swatch scorecard, which enables brands and mills to really understand how they might be able to design their headers in a way that will make them easier to disassemble and recycle at end of life. The guide is now available to view, and I'd really encourage you to go and have a look at what Smarter Swatches are up to. Our fifth case study is the Little Smart Black Dress by The Line. The Line is a fashion initiative which is based in Sydney, Australia, which was founded by 2 siblings, Sarah and Nick, and they developed this brand with just 1 article of clothing, the Little Black Smart Dress. So each dress is made on demand in small batches using recycled materials locally and ethically. But very importantly, they've developed a full digitalization process so that the dress is digitally assigned to its wearer, with the information stored on the dress itself, which records provenance, but really builds this culture of longevity, so that the women who own these dresses really become a different kind of consumer and creates this community around keeping garments for longer and making sure they are kept very wearable throughout their life. Case number 6, still in products and services, and I thought this one was really interesting in its way of basically combining product design and product production services with a waste reduction element. So as part of the Regio Green Tech's EU-funded project, Made-vel-e and Catty Fashion, which are respectively a social enterprise and a production factory in Romania, have developed this piece of software which basically streamlines the recovery of scrap fabric pieces from production offcuts. So in the image on the screen here, we can see like our classic sort of like nesting on the fabric for a garment. And obviously this nesting has been made so that there is as little waste as possible, but there's always going to be some. And many designers that work with upcycling and that work with these like cutting floor waste systems have to then like collect the waste from the factory in whatever shape it comes in, and then do their own work of like fitting their patchwork pattern pieces on top of this. In this system, all of this is embedded within the same software. So you can really make sure that those parts can be usable for clothing and like generate economic value with minimal additional processes. So all the purple pieces that we see here are going to be part of a patchwork garment. There will still be waste, obviously, which is why it's an almost zero waste software tool. But that waste is minimized so that we can really recover the maximum value from fabric with minimal processes. What's really exciting about this work also is it really shows how synergistic thinking can support the capture of waste in its most valuable form. It's about like different actors in the supply chain really working together and thinking about these issues at the same time. Our case number 7 is going a little bit more academically, but I think it was really interesting to get a bit of a representation of what's been going on in the academic debate at the same time as all these commercial ventures have been going on. So at the Product Lifetime and Environment Conference in June, a new piece of research was put forward, which is exploring the measurable benefits of product longevity. And this work is quite radical in the way that it questions the replacement mechanisms in people's wardrobes when we're allocating product longevity. And it notes that the LCA approach tends to assume that a long life product completely displaces the purchase of a new item. Whereas we kind of all know that the lived reality of most fashion users is quite different, with like trends and wants guiding purchases more than like functional gaps in wardrobes. The paper also did an interesting review of academic literature that was claiming impact reduction through product longevity, and actually kind of started poking holes into like this echo chamber that we might be in, and found that like not a lot of these claims that product longevity would reduce impact were actually supported with empirical evidence. We know that product longevity can bring huge benefits in terms of like actually like reducing waste, but it's really important that like there is this academic perspective that actually forces us to reckon with this and forces us to get measurable results so that we're not just all speaking in an echo bubble and just like, you know, going ahead based on assumptions that might not be fully supported. It's really encouraging this critical perspective on design solutions' role to reduce impacts and, yeah, points at some challenges that we might be seeing in the sector. Our next and last sort of like category is people and society, and we'll be looking at a few case studies that respond to this from our highlights of 2025. So number 8 is the Circulate Reimagining a Climate Resilient NHS in Scotland. This is part of an AHRC funded project called Design Hopes. And it's really exciting to see like the connections between like what we've been working on in fashion and textiles and the health sector, which is an often overlooked source of huge quantities of textile waste in the form of disposable hospital gowns and other forms of equipment. So this project used design fiction and play and games to explore how healthcare systems might adapt to environmental disruption, to sustainability imperatives, and to systemic constraints. We've been seeing other research in this field in 2025, which isn't necessarily listed in these in this selection of highlights, but notably the work carried out by researcher Catherine Townsend at Nottingham Trent University has been looking at redesigning and repurposing hospital gowns. And this is really a place where we've got some opportunities to sort of tackle quite a standardized form of like textile challenge that really is like huge in terms of quantities. Our case study number 9 is maybe a slightly sort of a slightly different perspective here. Not so much an actual sort of like industry step forward, but more a moment that's been defining like what the year has looked like. So on the 11th of July, a really long-standing partner in the like textile recycling industry called Made-vel-e in France launched a textile collection strike to really raise awareness of the difficulties that are facing the sector. This mobilization really reflected a crisis in the sector, but it also underscores the need for a profound change in the model. The strike leaders challenged the funding model that supports the circular transition in France, and eventually, like their industrial action led to an increase in the subsidies that were received by this specific section of the end-of-life supply chain. So this points to systemic challenges of transitioning to circularity that are also reinforced by the news that the German sorting and resale company TexAid has filed for insolvency this summer. If we want this like house of cards to work properly, we're really going to have to support every single level of it. These signs of difficulties show the need for a whole systems thinking approach when we develop products and services that enable material circulation. We need to listen to the voices of those that are experiencing these hurdles very firsthand. And our final case study for these highlights of 2025 is in fact like an initiative that's really been like going and like working with like the people involved in the textile and apparel industry. So Reconomy is an international development program led by Helvetas and the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, which aims to support business development across the Eastern Partnership and the Western Balkans region. So the idea of Reconomy is to use current knowledge and practices and encouraging learning and sharing between countries to support a shift to circular and sustainable practices. So the program has been doing this by involving a variety of stakeholders, including public institutions, nonprofit, academia, and businesses. So the program really focuses on common issues that countries of like both these regions find, as well as like sort of sharing resources and like helping each other to step up to support systemic improvements. So this like quite overarching program, which looks at more than just textiles and apparel, has like this focus on the textile and clothing area, which focuses on regional and international challenges to embedding green skills in the industry. So those are all of our case studies, and we'd be really excited to hear your own. So please contribute your case studies to the Knowledge Hub and help us build the global mapping.
And now let's hear firsthand from the representatives of these case studies. First, we'll be hearing from Circular Economy, who are in charge of the Knowledge Hub, then from Usha Yarns, then from Fabscrap, and then from Reconomy. They're all going to tell us what 2025 looked like for them and what their key achievements were. And maybe we'll get some insights about like what's going to happen next, what's exciting going forward.
I'm delighted to hear from Circle Economy, who are in charge of the Knowledge Hub and can tell us a lot more about their highlights for 2025.
Hi everyone, my name is Ola. I'm the Textiles Program Lead at Circle Economy. Circle Economy is a foundation dedicated to doubling global circularity in every industry, including the textiles and fashion industry. We empower nations, cities, and businesses with data, tools, and knowledge to put circular economy into action. For me, The 2025 highlight is growing our global community of practice of certified master trainers who have completed our training of trainers program in countries like Bangladesh, Cambodia, and Indonesia. And they represent a diverse group of professionals from manufacturing background, consultancy background, NGO, and academia. And they are all active users and contributors to diverse cases on the Knowledge Hub, which is the world's largest open library of circular economy knowledge, built by practitioners.
Hi, my name is James. I'm a senior product manager at Circular Economy. I'm one of the product managers that is managing Knowledge Hub. And this year with Knowledge Hub, we have reached over 130,000 users across 195 countries, hosting over 5,000 case studies, policies, and research pieces. This equips practitioners, sustainability managers, professors, entrepreneurs, and all these decision makers with reliable evidence to learn from and apply in practice. The hub enables contributors to showcase their work, organizations to build curated collections, and readers to explore proven solutions through practical frameworks. By feeding real-world examples and insights into circular economy's reports, or partners like World Circular Textile Day reflects local community-led help actions and help accelerate transition into a circular economy.
Hi, I am Anurag Gupta, Managing Director of Usha. For us, 2025 has been about turning circularity from a vision to real scalable action across the textile industry. After having successfully scaled up Pune Popular and it having been widely adopted by several brands, this year the focus has been on creating mono-material recycled yarns that meet global expectations for quality and performance. At Usha Yarns, we've achieved two major milestones under our Pune brand. Pune Natural is made from blends of recycled cotton and virgin cotton, offering quality, transparency, and uncompromised circularity. Alongside it, Pune Signature, developed with Birla Cellulose, combines mechanically recycled cotton blended with chemically recycled cellulosic fibers, engineered to deliver both performance and sustainability. Together, these innovations demonstrate that recycled textiles can be high quality, scalable, and ready for adoption by leading brands. Going forward, Usha Yarns is committed to accelerating circularity across the value chain through continued innovation, collaboration, and mainstream adoption, making sustainability not just a goal but the foundation of the fashion industry's future. Thank you.
And let's hear from Fabscrap now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Corvus. I work as the service coordinator at Fabscrap. We're a textile recycling nonprofit in New York City. And over the last year in 2025, we've been working on sharing our new guide, Smarter Swatches, which really dives into what textile waste in New York City really looks like. Typically, we find ourselves working on managing textile waste, but now we really want to move into how do we actually find ways to reduce it, make it easier for disassembly so that we can recover more materials for reuse and recycling in the United States and beyond. Our hope moving forward is to start building a coalition of brands and like-minded nonprofits to help us to actually implement our findings and co-create and co-design better ways to do textile sampling.
Now we're hearing from Reconomy program representatives about their highlights for 2025.
Hi, I'm Anna, represent Helvetas within the cooperation Reconomy program. I'm the project coordinator, and 2025 for me was important to kind of acknowledge that networking and communication between different actors in T&I industry, textile and apparel industry, is important, and how big this networking, how big impact can this networking have, and how one's success case can become another private sector enterprise's success story and kind of starting point of it. So 2025 was something that kind of emphasized this part, and through this is role models, like who can become role model for others. This can have a good influence and impact to other private sector companies in the T&A industry.
Hi, I am Lasha from Helvetas as well. I'm an environment and climate change advisor for Reconomy program implemented across Western Balkans and the Eastern Partnership. For me, from my perspective, the 2025 was very much a significant step for our support in advancing green transition in all these 11 countries through different projects under our portfolio. It's about circularity, it's about energy efficiency, it's about sustainability in tourism, digitalization, and so on. And as an outlook, I'm really looking forward to further supporting these countries in their adventure of green transition and further approximation with the EU.
Hello, I'm Natacha from Made-vel-e, and 2025 with the Reconomy has been, I would say we got two great, received two amazing things. One was exposure, the fact, I mean, we're producing things and we need to be exposed for other people to understand and hear our story. That was one of them. And we participated in Moldova Fashion Week, and it was a great exposure for us to take it outside Armenia. And I would say the second thing was understanding Scandinavian and European market more, and what is their expectations, what could we do more or less or change for us to get into the correct markets. So that was a very big plus for us. So I would say among other many smaller things, these are the two major things that was very, very helpful for our brand.